to stay.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Boards, a podcast dedicated to the actions and interests of skaters beyond skateboarding. My guest today, Danny Garcia, grew up in Anaheim, California, where he started skating in the mid-90s in his teen years. After a very solid and carefully curated skate career throughout the 2000s and early 2010s, putting out multiple iconic video parts for Habitat Skateboards among others, Danny slowly transitioned into another passion of his, music, under the name Reverend Baron. For the last 15 years, aside from releasing his own EPs and albums and touring all around the globe, Danny has also been engineering and producing music for other musicians at his very own Ladder Factory studios in California. I will borrow this quote from his label Colemine Records by saying his songs are an unassuming invitation to either walk through the doorway or lean on the wall outside. Either way, something beautiful and rare. So here's my conversation with Danny. I hope you'll enjoy it. Alright, so let's start with this first one from Aaron Brown. He said, Danny, I'm not sure if you remember this, but one time at the mall, someone left my car door open while myself and all the people I drove with were inside the mall. You happened to drive by and noticed my car door was wide open. Instead of being a good friend and closing the car door, you decided to be an even better friend and hijack my video camera. Not sure how you guys timed it, but pretty much exactly when we got back to my car and noticed and started tripping out that the camera was gone, you or Abdul called me with a disguised Batman-like voice telling me the camera was at Liberty Board Shop. We drove over and it was you guys busting up. I still think it's funny you left my car door open after you took the camera, but I'm glad you guys got the camera instead of someone else. Random childhood memory.
Man, I don't know what to say.
Do you remember this story?
Yes, I do remember it. That's funny, and I'm glad that's long ago in the past. That's like, that was me as a kid having fun, feeling my oats. I do remember that, though.
Mm-hmm. And so, were you with Abdul Hamid, right? Is that who you were with?
Abdul Hamid, yeah, he's a good friend of mine. And I remember that, and still kind of funny. I'm glad he thinks it's funny. But, you know, now, these days, I would close the door, find him, and scold him for leaving his door open.
Well, on that note, I have also a question from Abdul. Let's see, he said, Hey Digar, it's Abdul. What's up, baby? Long time no see. I was thinking of when we met in high school and we had home economics together. Our group was definitely the jokesters, but when we focused, we could definitely throw down some solid dishes. We would be getting told to quiet down because we were always cracking jokes and laughing. One particular day, when the jokes were popping off and our casserole was looking damn good, I might add, the bell rings, class is over, and the classroom is eerily quiet, and there they are. Each of our moms from our four-man group are waiting at the door when class ended. I just remember thinking, Well shit, I'm glad they came on a day when our food was on par with our fucking around. I couldn't skate for a week, but the shit was worth it for all the laughs that came after it. Miss you, dude, and still waiting to see some new skate clips. Love you, homie.
Oh, man. These guys are taking me back. Yeah, Abdul, I went to high school with Abdul, and we were great friends, and we still are. And I forgot about that until now. Yeah, your mom showing up to class is embarrassing.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I loved that class. I loved going to high school, and I was a very poor student, but I loved hanging out and with those guys and just messing around.
I assume you had like a crew of friends you started skating with. Were these guys part of it, or were there maybe earlier people you started skating with?
These guys were the Abdul and that whole gang, like the Liberty Board Shop squad was, I would say, my second wave of skate friends. I lived in Anaheim near a school named Rio Vista, and that was also the skate spot. So I have a whole group of friends I met there, and pretty shortly after I started skating, I moved to Brea. Mm-hmm. Which is not that far away, but when you're young, it's very far away. And changed high schools and finished high school at Brea with all these guys who I met around then.
All right. Well, kind of on the topic of food, Seu Trinh asked, do you still like eating pizza bites? Every time I went over, your mom made me some.
Oh, boy. I'm remembering. No, I don't eat those now, but Of course, I would if they were served. And that's
You would
very
indulge.
sweet. Yeah, that's very nice remembering my mom taking care of everybody.
This one is from Tyrone Coronado.
Oh, man.
Let's see. He said, what was harder, becoming a professional skateboarder or a full-time musician? And do you still have your VHS tape? We used to go skating and get footage.
The
So Tyrone
first
was
question,
a filmer, right? He was filming you
Yes, he
for
filmed.
some of your first clips and stuff?
yeah, we also went to high school together. We met in school. I mean, he was a really good skateboarder, and he had a great jump shot. So we would play basketball, skate, and at some point, I don't know at what point, but he started filming. So he filmed me. I had a camera, and I bought a VX at some point, or my parents bought me a VX 1000, and we started filming a bunch. But yeah, so we filmed for years, like beyond, after high school, we kept doing it. What was harder, becoming a professional skateboarder or a musician, a working musician? By far, a musician. It's a tough thing to do because it just wasn't as easy as skateboarding, and you're your own boss and you're your own business, and there's no playbook. Not that there was in skateboarding, but there kind of was. There was a lot of skateboarders around me, and I started meeting sponsored skateboarders and pros. And with music, it's been a long road of trying to figure out how to do it. I know how to play and make music, but how do you get paid to do any of that? Who knows?
Yeah.
But the skateboarding thing, I was young. I didn't think much. I think at some point I wanted to be pro, and then I just kept skating and trying to get my footage out. And so yeah, that's the answer to that question. Mm-hmm. That tape, I do think I had a VHS tape we would just fill with all the stuff we filmed. So there's so much stuff that never saw the light of day on that tape. Yeah. And I think I might. I think I don't have it, but I'm sure it's in storage somewhere. But I've thought about it every once in a blue moon. I think about that tape because there's probably some really cool stuff on it.
Let's see. This one is from Joe Castrucci, another important filmer in your life. He said, in the intro for your mosaic part, Hunt filmed you running track in 16mm. If I remember correctly, they filmed that as a joke to mess with me, but I didn't think it would go in the actual video. Is that how you remember it? How did that sprint footage come about, and were you cool with it making the final cut of the video?
That's exactly how I remember it. I mean, I don't remember it. That was so long ago. This is must be 2002 or something, I'm guessing. Like a little bit before Mosaic came out.
Right.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. Obviously, I mean, that's my high school. That's where I went to high school. And there was ledges there. So I would go skate there. And I remember filming or trying to film with Greg there. And we were just walking around the campus trying to film B-roll stuff. And I don't know whose idea it was, probably mine. But yeah, we were just messing around. And I can't remember how I felt about it being used in the video. But it was, and now seems like it's the way it should be.
Okay. Brian Wenning said, please just tell him I want to thank him for filming my switch heel flip over the rail in photosynthesis. He was ahead of his time with buying his own VX 1000, and shout out to his younger brother Jason.
Oh man. Yeah, that's very sweet. Wenning, I filmed, he did a beautiful switch heel flip over this handrail. I also filmed, I can't remember, I kind of botched either his or Tim O'Connor did a varial flip over it, and I filmed that as well.
Oh, okay.
Those guys, right when I got on Habitat, those guys would come out and stay with me in Brea, and I would just take them around, and we would do our thing, whether we had a filmer or not. But yeah, I had a camera back then. Like I said, my mother bought it for me, which is also very, very sweet and really supportive. I kind of forget about that. But that was kind of the only way I saw. That's the only way I thought I could do it, maybe, to really film myself. It's like I wasn't going to get any of the big filmers to film me, so I can at least get that camera.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had Colin Kennedy around. He became kind of a big filmer guy, so.
I remember hearing I think it was in, what's his name? Bill Strobeck's Bob Shirt interview. I think he mentioned in there that the first time he met you I think it was at Love Park maybe, or somewhere. I don't remember where exactly. I don't know if you brought your camera, but you had a tape, I think is what he said. And you, you kind of gave him your tape and asked him to film you with that tape, basically. Did I get that right?
Yeah. This is such a funny memory. I was on the East Coast visiting family in Long Island, and I went down to to see Love Park. It had to have been the first time I'd been there, but I was in Long Island. All I wanted to do was skate, so I had to get out of there because there's nothing to skate. But I made it to Love Park, and I did have my camera, but I also had the DV tapes, and I saw Bill sitting there with the camera, so I asked him, very unlike me, to do that, to walk up to a stranger. But
you didn't know Bill yet? That was the first time you guys were meeting?
Yeah, it was the first time we met. And this was before I was sponsored. I was in high school. I think I was still in high school. And I just asked him to film me with my tape. Then I took the tape and ran off. I don't even think we exchanged phone numbers or anything.
And I think that clip appeared afterwards in a 411 or something, or I don't remember where it ended, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in a 411. I don't know which one.
Well, speaking of Wenning, I have a question from Austyn Gillette. He said, ask the story about Wenning shipping out his car from the East Coast with a blow-up doll in the back.
Oh, boy. I mean, there's so many funny details in this story that I don't remember. I just remember laughing, but also being so stressed out. I'll say I think it was more than a blow-up doll. I think it was a real doll, what they called a real doll, which probably weighs like 60 pounds. And I mean, I don't really know what he was doing with it, honestly. I'm not going to talk about
Speculate,
that.
Yeah.
But I guess, from my memory, I think he drove. I don't know if he drove all the way, but he drove his car out to my place. And at some point, there was some border inspection, and they had to open the trunk. This thing was in the trunk. And it's like, what it sounds like, it's a real doll. And it's like a woman, like a kind of a, I don't know, nondescript female body.
Yeah.
He was at my apartment, and for some reason, I have a memory of him. I think it was stressing me out because it was in my place. And I was like, you got to get this thing out of here. It's like, it scares, I like get up in the morning, walk downstairs in the morning, and
there she is.
It's sitting on the couch, and it scares me. So
yeah. So
I do have a pretty vivid memory of him throwing it away. But it's in an apartment complex that has a dumpster. He's like dragging this thing, and I'm stressing out because some of my neighbors are probably seeing this. He's like dragging this doll to the dumpster. And those are the couple things I remember about that story. But Wenning and his antics it's like some of the funniest memories are his antics, but also in real time it's stressful it was stressful for me, but
yeah.
But I love him. He prepared me for the real world, actually.
Let's see. Brennan Conroy asked if you prefer life on the road with musicians to life on the road with skaters. And you just, we're recording this end of March, and I think you just came home from, I don't know how long it lasted, but a few weeks tour. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts on touring with musicians versus skaters? Yeah.
I don't prefer one over the other, but I think, especially these days, I think I prefer the structure of playing shows, touring as a musician, because there's a routine. I think, I don't know back in the day, but I wasn't really good at touring as a skater, but maybe it was because a lot of times there wasn't a clear schedule, and I would kind of get lost in that unclear way of navigating. But I love the camaraderie and hanging with all the different people in both realms. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the best thing about it.
And you were just saying that you sometimes didn't necessarily love touring as a pro skater. Do you enjoy doing it today as a professional musician? Do you? Because I'm not a neither a pro skater nor a musician, but I personally am very routine, a routine kind of guy. I like to be at home and, have sleep in the same bed every night and stuff. So I'm just wondering, how do you enjoy being on the road and traveling like that? Do you enjoy it, or is it also a little bit taxing or a little energy consuming after a few weeks, I'm sure?
Well, it's both, but I mostly enjoy it. I like my routine, and I've learned, it's taken me a long time to learn how to more or less have one on the road. But I do love traveling. I love driving, and I love seeing places. And yeah, I've learned how to kind of let go of most of my rigidities and not be in control of anything except for just kind of getting from place to place and trying to experience things like, the world moving around you. It can be really, really cool, and it gets taxing, and I get tired, and I get a little grumpy sometimes, but that's about it. I do love it.
Okay, let's see. This question is from Calvin Love, fellow musician. I think you guys worked together on the song Famous Feeling, right?
We've done a lot of stuff, yeah.
So let's see. He said, did skateboarding teach you more about success or more about failure?
That's good. Well, both. But I think one thing I've thought about is pretty early on I got a big lesson in with something that's really common today is, maybe I can call it comment culture. Like, I don't know what year it was, late 90s, early 2000s, I was reading about myself online a good amount. And I had to learn how to, or not consciously, but just over time, you learn to just let that stuff run through you. Like, you don't hold on to that stuff too much. I mean, the negative stuff always sticks and wants to kind of eat at your brain. But yeah, I think it gave me some of that. Like, I had attention and people were talking about you and, chat rooms and leaving comments and all that. So
yeah,
I kind of got a lesson in a way in success. Like, this is what it feels like. I did get a lesson in, like, I want this. I wanted to be sponsored. And by the time I got it, it didn't feel like anything. I was like, I should be sponsored. And like, or it just seems right. Like, by the time you get the thing you're striving for, in my experience, it just seems like that's the way it should be. And so it doesn't give you any type of feeling. It was like the striving is just some sort of fuel to create and to keep moving and to keep doing things. And
right.
So it's not the getting the thing that does anything necessarily. So I wanted to be sponsored. I wanted a board. I wanted to be and have parts and videos, and I wanted pro shoe, and I wanted this, and I got those things, and I got those feelings, and those are lessons in a way that I got from skateboarding, and have probably carried with me.
What about with music? Like, when you transitioned into music, did you have kind of goals for yourself? Like the goals you had for skating, you just mentioned? Like, did you have goals as in, I don't know, like record an album or, sign a deal with a label or something, or go on tour or stuff like that? Did you have those kinds of goals as well?
All of those things. I remember even wanting to just play on a record, just play guitar on any record, and
not necessarily be the centerpiece of the song or the album.
Yeah, and then at some point I wanted to make my own record, or I wanted to just, even it took me years to even write a song that I liked. And touring or playing shows and all that stuff, and I still have goals, but like I said, you want to hit those, you want to get those things, and I'm serious. Like, it's not the getting those things. That's not where it's at. It's the doing. It really is it's cliche, but it is just getting there. That's the important thing.
This one is an audio one.
Hey Dan, it's Johnny. A couple questions for you. You obviously had a pretty incredible professional skateboarding career and spent many years in the industry. What are some parallels between the music industry and the skateboarding industry? And, was there anything that, you learned in your time as a skateboarder that kind of maybe helped you at all in your musical career, whether it's performing or, touring or recording? And also, you told me earlier that you had the chance to play Levon Helm's barn in Woodstock, and what a surreal kind of experience it was, because there's so much history there, and it's obviously a really important venue. Was there anything from your time in skateboarding that kind of had the same impact on you or feeling? And finally, who's your favorite skater turned musician or musician turned skater? Mine's Mario Ruvalcaba. I love you, man. I hope to see you soon.
Oh, man. That's my guy, Johnny Franck.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
Great friend of mine. Those are good questions. I think to answer the first one, well, I think I touched on it before. I don't know. There's like the parallels in the business side is one thing, but I will say something I maybe not totally consciously learned, but with skateboarding and when I started making music, I just knew I wanted to make music, but I think I was pretty sure that I wasn't very good at it. And looking back, I wanted to be good, of course, but I just knew that I would have to go through a whole process to get better or to get, I mean, good or bad, whatever, but just to get sturdy and to be able to control this thing that I'm doing, like
to feel more comfortable.
Have control. Yeah, and so I think unconsciously, like the whole arc of becoming good at skateboarding over years or just in a day, just trying to do something in that moment, taught me that you're born with certain things, but you're not really born with it. You kind of got to find yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like being a good musician to me there's no parameters. You can't really like measure it for somebody else. It's like really this whole process of finding yourself, like what you have to offer.
Yeah.
So I think my skateboard life just prepared me to go through and I'm still going through it musically. Like that's what you got to go through. That's the way it is. It's kind of romanticized like these gifted musicians that just things just fall out of them. But there's tons of work and some days are good and it feels like that. But just the process, like really the process is something I learn, and that's somewhat of a parallel with skateboarding. Skateboarding's a bit more physical, and there is like the psychological aspect that crosses over. The second question, I think, was about
Levon Helm's Barn in Woodstock.
Yeah, we were talking about a venue and venues that I've played. Like it is cool to be in places that have spirit and are kind of magical and exciting. And there's very much, I mean, I have like stronger memories with skate spots. Like still to this day, when I cross the bridge into San Francisco, my heart and adrenaline starts pumping because when I first went there, it was, I forget when it was. It might have been like 96 or something, but it kind of was the mecca or one of the meccas of skateboarding. So going to EMB for the first time or Pier 7 was so overwhelming. I can kind of remember my body buzzing.
Yeah.
And maybe I think probably like that with Love Park in the late 90s too. Or like Lockwood in LA. Like I have so many great memories of going to these places and just being so excited and
feeling the energy of the place and stuff.
Yeah, because it's like being a kid and meeting a movie star. Those places are like the stars in a way of these videos, and
sure.
So I have noticed that, like I said, still to this day, when it's San Francisco does it for a reason. It's the skyline and the bridge. When I cross over, I can feel it.
Yeah,
and I just smile when that happens. And skater turn musician. It's got to be Ray Barbee. I love.
Oh
Ray.
Yeah, me too.
And he's not a turned anything. He's just both. He's just always been both. He's a creative,
and a
spirit all around. And
yeah.
And I think that's why I love and respect him so much. He's just a good guy, good spirit, and a good creative spirit.
Yeah.
And it just kind of flows. It just flows with him, like it always has.
Yeah, he's a great. Because I was trying to think when I listened to Johnny's question, I was trying to think of other skaters / musicians like yourself, and apart from you and Ray, I couldn't really think of many people like that dove deep into music after their skate career, kind of.
Yeah, there's a good amount. I mean, there's like Hensley and Leo Romero's doing it, and.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's tons. I'm forgetting.
Hensley.
A lot.
I forgot about Hensley. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Flogging Molly, right? Yeah.
Yes, and my good friend Matt Costa was kind of on the path to be a professional skateboarder. His transition. I mean, he became a great songwriter and has had a long career in music. His path was because of an injury. It was kind of enforced, but
okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I'm forgetting a handful. I bet.
Jeremy Rogers
would...
Other kind of music, but yeah. Okay, let's do this next one.
D-Gar, what up? I feel like this is at least a 2-decade full circle moment, so I'm definitely looking forward to listening to this one. And I'm sure to this point you will have talked a lot about skating and that one kickflip. So I'm going to go a little bit different direction, knowing you were low-key always the MVP on the podium ball courts. I'm going to hit you with the basketball question. And I'm going to frame it up in the context of a Chappelle Show skit. And so I don't know what people do and don't know about Chappelle's Show, so I'm going to paint the picture a little bit. There's a skit where Charlie Murphy's talking about playing basketball with Prince. And obviously Prince was known for flamboyant dress. Not saying you're like a flamboyant dresser, but I think you're probably looking a little different than a skater these days. And so anyway, like the gist of the skit is that Prince just blows their mind on the court. It was like totally unexpected. These dudes who fancied themselves like basketball guys just like got smoked by Prince in one of his like textbook Prince outfits. So my question is, have you ever blown anybody's mind in the current era with a game of pickup as Reverend Baron? And then second part of that is, what skater from either the modern era or somewhat current, what's a skater whose skating would pair well with a Reverend Baron song? All right, dude. Can't wait to hear it. Take care.
Man, that's Kelly Bird.
Yes. Okay, cool. You recognize his voice.
Yeah, I miss that dude. He's good. He's an artist with his question, painting the picture, huh? Yeah, we used to play basketball at Podium back in the day. And man, I still love playing basketball. It's like I'm slowed down so much, it's my body, but I still love playing the game because I can kind of use my brain a little bit more. I don't think I've tripped people out just because maybe I'm a somewhat unassuming looking and I've just had good days playing well, but I'm trying to think. I can't remember specifically like really tripping people out, or maybe they just like trip because they find out I'm a musician and, when I have long hair or something, they're kind of surprised that I can sort of play. But I did have a memory, and when I heard Aaron Brown's voice earlier, or when you mentioned Aaron Brown,
Mm-hmm.
For some reason I thought he was going to bring up this story that's so long ago that I don't even know if it's true or not. It's just in my mind. I do have a memory of skating a spot that was a basketball court, and these dudes were playing basketball on it. And we were kind of beefing over the space, like who could get the space. And finally I played one of the guys one-on-one for the spot. And,
I think
I won,
remember
of course.
You telling
that's
that
why.
story on the 9 Club maybe or something like that.
Is that true?
I think so.
I already told
that
it.
Rings a bell. Yeah.
Well, whatever. No matter how true
Sorry,
or false
I didn't mean
it
to
is, I
cut
hold
you
it in
off,
my
yeah.
mind. I hold it in my memory as like a victory of bravado, like a moment of bravado.
Yeah.
Oh, the second part of his question. Damn, a skater today. I trip that I've seen my music in skate videos and it's cool. I don't even know I don't think of myself as making good skate music, but it could work, I guess. Probably gotta be probably just gotta be like smooth and slow with it.
Yeah.
Who's doing that these days? I don't pay attention. That's the thing.
For some reason, when I was listening to his question, the first person that came to mind, I don't know that this would be a good pairing at all, but someone I'd be curious to see skate to one of your songs is Bobby the Kaiser. I don't know if you know about him.
Yeah, I do. He's real technical.
He's not exactly slow and smooth. He's smooth, but he's very fast. Like he's a super high speed kind of skater and quick flick and everything. So he's probably a bit too intense for the like calmness and peacefulness of your music. I don't know, but
well, I'd love
to
see
it still. Yeah.
And I'll say to Bird, if he's got anybody and he can make it happen, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, good to hear from you, Kelly.
All right, let's do this one.
Yo, Danny, it's Rodney. Quick 2-part question. First, when's the last time you felt pressure having to do something in the music industry? Whether it be performing somewhere maybe you weren't that interested in or creating a project in a given time frame. And then second question is, it's a little cheesy, but how do you stay inspired, especially in an industry where you kind of are toting that line between hobby and career? Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for everything. Peace.
Oh, man, that's Rodney Cox. He plays bass in my band. He's just a great dude. And he can skate. I think he still can skate too. I think he's still skating a good amount.
Cool. Yeah.
That's good question. The pressure thing is like, it's always me that puts that on myself to do things by, like, there's no crazy deadlines in my world. I mean, there is for jobs and stuff, but I mean, not that long ago, I remember, this is just a funny story. I was on a show. I was opening too for some band I won't name, but their manager started aggressively emailing me to post about the show.
Okay.
So I sort of felt pressure, but I did just tell him to find another opening act, because it just like pressed a button in me. I was like, I might do it, and I probably would have, but this, telling me to do something isn't quite the way to get me to do something. But yeah, all the any pressure is really just comes from mostly myself.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a way I stay inspired, but it is hard to. I have to stay inspired to like create stuff that I think is worthy of putting out there in the world is a bit of a trick. I can get burnt out, but I try to listen and find a lot of music, like new stuff. And these days that's usually just like scrolling all over the place on the internet. And I forget to do this sometimes, but I do try to just live my life, like go to museums, go to libraries, take hikes and parks and hang out with different people. I mean, that's partly what touring does. It's like just
being in the world
around. Yeah, and just living life. Like, you can forget to do that because I love being solitary and playing music, writing music, recording music, thinking about music. And so at times I have to remind myself to live my life.
Do you feel when you wrap up like working on a project, like an album or an EP, or like something you're going to put out, do you feel the same kind of pressure that you used to feel when you were wrapping up a part, like like kind of the crunch time of trying to get last kind of gnarly tricks or whatever, stuff like that? Is it somewhat similar, or is it a bit more smoother kind of the process?
It's way more easygoing for me in my memory. Like, video parts were way more challenging. And I think it's a relationship with myself. There are deadlines, there are people expecting you to do it by then. And with skateboarding and video parts, there was more people involved. I'm trying to expand my music thing and bring other people in, but so much of it has been myself, and I'm kind of leading the charge, and so it is a relationship with myself.
Yeah.
So in my memory, the skateboarding and the video parts and putting things together, it was a little bit more pressure externally.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Someone else you mentioned not long ago.
Dude, Danny, Evan Schiefelbine here. What's up, dude? Hope you've been good. So back in the skating times, I think it happens for everybody at some point, but you show up to a spot to film something, and then you end up landing it first try. And it's kind of strange because it's like it never happens, but then it's also kind of, obviously a relief because you don't got to do it anymore. So musically, wondering the same thing about any songs that you've put out. Did they go that way where you sat down to write something and before you knew it, you had something just completely finished and ready to go? Or even recording-wise, sat down to record something and before you knew it, it was just like a wrap. All right, dude.
Oh, man. Good question from E-Man. Yeah, that does happen. Some things are just easy, and they happen, and it's rare, but it's kind of an illusion. Yeah, I have had songs and recordings that I really like just kind of happen. A lot of them are more of a battle, but I have a few. But I think there's a little bit of an illusion there because there's so much work leading up to that moment, so it's almost feels like an iceberg, like, the tip of it you see, and it seems like it was just like that, but there's so much leading up to that moment, and so much kind of unconscious work you're doing, and even like physically, like just always playing and always organizing words and music, in your mind. And so it does happen, and those are good days, and I take them. I don't think I mistake something being easy for it being mediocre or something, because that's a really good day and a good feeling, and I think it can be a good thing to hear something that flows out like that.
Let's see. This one is from Justin Michael Brooks. He said, you need a backup singer, spur of the moment, for a show. You've got 3 options: Tim O'Connor, Joe Castrucci, or Stefan Janoski. Who are you rocking with?
That's easy. That's Stefan.
Yeah.
Stefan won't take this compliment, but he's got a great singing voice.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. It's all growly and rough and cool and just kind of very much his own voice, which is hard to come by.
Let's see. So, I have one from Abdon Valdez.
Oh yeah, Abdon. You've done some research.
Some digging, yes. He was on that tour with you, right? And Cornelia Murr, you were touring all together, right?
Yes, we've been touring the last however many
like
3-4
weeks or something, or
yeah, and a few the end of last year into this year we've been out there backing up Cornelia.
Right. So yes, at what point did you realize you were a shredder at guitar solos, and are you okay with being known for that?
Man, that's funny. I still think I'm not good at soloing. I love music. I like playing it. I like playing guitar. I like solos sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not think I have the gift for solos. But I'll take the compliment. So I'm still trying to figure out how do I become a good soloist? And I think these days it's just kind of playing the vocal melody in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only way into soloing is trying to play a vocal melody of the song. Shredding for shredding's sake is fun, but I always feel a little embarrassed after I do it.
Yeah.
But I'll take the compliment. Abdon's a great drummer.
Okay, let's see. This one is from Hayden Brosnan.
Yeah.
He said, you were a fan of Detail, where Kobe, rest in peace, would watch game footage and give his breakdown and any ladies. If you could have a version of Detail in the music world, where a musician would listen to and break down songs and jams, who would you want to host it?
Damn, that's good. I mean, well, I just love that. I love that thing in the basketball realm. He's talking about this. I think it was an ESPN series or something where Kobe would watch game film, and just go over what's going on exactly and where people can improve, where they're messing up, where they're doing things right.
Kind of analyze it and...
It's harder, I think, to do that with music, but people do it. And actually, there's this guy, I don't even know his music at all. I just know he's a musician. I think his name's Jamie Liddell. He's a British guy who lives in the States, I believe, who has a podcast that I was just listening to. And I kind of like the way he talks about music, and that's all I can say about it. I think he talks about music in technical ways, but also more amorphous ways, and making music and breaking down music kind of is both of those things. It's pretty hard to catch. There's some technical stuff, but it's a lot of spirit as well.
Yeah.
But shit, I would like Hayden. Hayden can probably do it. I met Hayden. I met Hayden when he was at FA. He's not there anymore, but that's when we met. He's a great dude.
This one is from Andrew Gabbard.
Yeah, Gabbard.
Andy Gabbard. Yeah.
Great musician, songwriter. He plays in the Black Keys as his day job, I guess, I believe.
And you guys played together on the song "It's So Nice to Get Stoned," right? You probably did some other stuff, but that's what I found.
Yes. Yeah, we've done some things together. And I've been meaning to hit him up to do more in the future.
Cool. Well, his question is kind of linked to that. He said, ask Danny when will he be returning to the studio again with Andy Gabbard to record our favorite NRBQ covers.
Oh, man. I don't know, but should be soon. Actually, I would like to do... I mean, we have a shared love of the band NRBQ and the greatest unknown bar band of all time. And I think it would actually be more fun if we just booked a gig. It should probably be... Andy's in Ohio, so it should probably be somewhere in Ohio. It'd be more fun to just book a gig and play a bunch of NRBQ tunes and not record it, and no cell phones or anything.
Yeah, a bit more present for the moment.
Yeah.
This one is from Oscar Ruvalcaba.
Yeah.
All right. He said, what is the situation with Ladder Studio? Are you still part of plans for it?
Yeah. Damn, you really dug deep. Oscar's my homie. He's also a great drummer. Well, my plan for Ladder Studios is still here. I'm here right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of been, I've left living in LA for the time being, so I'm floating around. And so for now, it's unfortunately, it's kind of like a storage space for my gear. But I'm here, and I'm in LA for a couple weeks, so I'm going to be working on stuff while I'm here. But I'm keeping it for now just as kind of a like I said, a storage space for my gear until I maybe find another place to live and build a studio, which, I don't know, that could take months or years, I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that being a kind of long process, yeah, I assume, yeah.
It can be, yeah.
Is that the same space that I'm trying to remember? I saw a piece on you with was it an Out There maybe for Thrasher or something like that? Where
yes, Waylon did.
Yes, Waylon Bone. Yeah. So is that the same space? Okay.
Yes, that's when I first got in here, and it's grown since then. At least like inside, the gear and stuff has really expanded. It's filled out nicely, and I've kind of lived in it for a while. Not literally, but just used it. So the space also changes when you use something. Like,
mm-hmm.
But that's it, in the same place.
You said you were not officially, so to speak, living in LA anymore. Do you want to settle somewhere else in the future, or are you just looking for a new place, or do you want to be on the road for a while? What are your plans on in the near future?
I'm looking to find a home, possibly in New York.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, so I'm floating. I mean, my partner Cornelia and I are looking for a place right now, but it's hard to look for a place when you are on the road. So it's tricky. But since I knew that I would be touring, it's easy to kind of just let go of paying rent somewhere. And we've been subletting in upstate New York.
Nice. All right. Okay. So maybe New York in the near future then.
Possibly. It's tricky to say it, on record in a way, because I just don't know.
No, of course. No, I understand. Okay. This one is from Stefan Janoski. He said, "What happened to Jackie?"
I think he means from the song Jackie.
Yep.
Well, in my mind, she dies in a car accident, but that's just in my mind. That's the version of the story that I have in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good question. I still like that song. I still play that song, and it's kind of a little bit of a story, just vague story, where I don't tell you what happens. Is the idea. It's not some big trick, not some big stroke of genius or anything, but it's a thing I like about songs.
Well, on the subject of songs, I have a question from Toby Adkins. He asked, "You have a song titled Rio Vista. What does that mean to you?"
Yeah, that's my friend Toby from Rio Vista days. His childhood friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Great skateboarder, great guy. Rio Vista's the song's called Rio View. I think that was my big move, was change the translation for Vista into English. But yeah, that was my what's the word? Nostalgic, kind of just thinking about it. Those were my formative years. I started skateboarding there. That's when I met all those guys, Toby included, and that whole group of friends who I'm still friends with to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So it means a lot. It was like a crazy time. I was 14 years old or so. It was just really formative. My life changed like crazy when I started skateboarding. So that place is kind of the symbol for that time and that shift in my life, and just the love I have for all those guys. And it gave me, for most people who really kind of have skateboarded for a long time, or it gave me purpose really early on, and identity and direction and all that. So, and again, maybe the most important thing, that friend group, it gave me the friend group to kind of center myself and give me confidence, to expand my world and to leave there and go out into the world and do things I wanted to do,
And this is just bringing a side question for me, but as a skater, like you, not you necessarily, but like in general, skaters, evolve, and your skating evolves as your, time passes. But there's kind of, I think it was Dill who was speaking in somewhere about like the window, kind of this moment in time in your skate career, skate journey where everything kind of clicks and you're like in the zone, you're in the window, and you feel like you're really solid on your skateboard and you can really perform well, I guess. And do you feel like there's something somewhat similar in music, or is it maybe a bit more because like with skating, it's obviously linked also to your physical ability, whereas with music, you can play music until very late in life. Like I don't think, it doesn't feel, at least from the outside, that being older will necessarily limit you in your capacity to play good music, So I was just wondering what were your thoughts about that, kind of like the window in skating versus the window in music, I guess.
That's a good question. It's similar in my mind because the window's a good way to put it, because it's like where your kind of physical ability meets your creative mind and your confidence, I think, is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And experience. So all those things come together and they're kind of interacting, and to me it feels like control, even though we're not in control of anything, and it's like an illusion for the most part. But there is a sense of control that's really cool, and I got there skating, and you kind of can hold it in a way for a few years, and same with music. I mean, I don't know when it happened, but it is true that for me now it's different than it was like 10 years ago in a studio or playing out and about. Like I am generally, like I have bad days and all that, but generally a little bit more consistent and confident and in control in a way. And with music, as a musician, you can do it when you get old, but there still is a window. There is this physicality, and like I mentioned earlier, like going out and experiencing life is a big part of fueling creativity and energy. And energy and creativity, like all this stuff, it kind of does deplete as you get older. So it doesn't go away, but it's it's not as charged sometimes.
Yeah.
It becomes a little bit more scarce. So there is that window. So I think I think of it these days, like as I'm getting older too, I do got to remember to fuel one, to take care of myself, to kind of be healthy-ish and I have the energy to do this thing and to fuel the kind of creative mind and spirit. But it is true that there is a point where it just feels, I feel better. I feel like I'm in a window.
And I remember also, I did an interview with Brian De La Torre about a year ago, I think, or a bit over a year ago. And he was telling me about like trying to keep the blade sharp, in skating, and trying to go skate as much as he can, especially with him having 2 kids now and stuff. And it's becoming a bit trickier, to find big chunks of time to go skating, basically. And I was wondering if it's the same with music. Like, do you sometimes just train, so to speak? Like kind of like he's going to the skate park to do a bunch of backtails or whatever. Like, do you do something similar with music? Like, practicing your voice or the guitar or whatever other instrument. Like, do you have to go through kind of a routine to keep that blade sharp as well?
Yeah, I do, but it's pretty unstructured, and I noticed it comes in waves. So sometimes for a week or something, I'll just get really into maybe like running scales on a guitar, or I even do it, maybe it's more rare, but I do it with my voice, like trying to do a little bit of voice exercise stuff. And then it just kind of goes away, and I'm mostly just playing, I just play a lot. So that's just kind of keeping things moving. And then one thing I do is, not as often as it used to be, but I learn, if I hear something I really like, I try to learn it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that's a good exercise in doing something you wouldn't do yourself, and you kind of investigate something and why do you like it. And so I do a little bit of it, not a ton. I'm not like, I think I did more of it years ago and still will do a little bit of it, just in phases. But it's just exercising, yeah. It's
like basically hearing a song that you like and trying to learn it yourself?
Yeah, learning it. I've even recorded, like tried to record like a whole, every instrument and just do it all myself, just as an exercise, like, a song that I like. And it's really like, it's like taking apart an engine and then putting it back together in a way.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All right, let's see.
Hey, Danny. At this point, you've been recording and releasing music as long, if not, I think, a little longer than you were a professional skateboarder. So my question is, at what point did it feel like you were making the transition? Like, what point were you aware that music was going to be this next step in life, creatively, professionally, etc.?
That's Colin Kennedy.
Yep, Colin Kennedy, exactly. Yeah.
That guy. Mm-hmm. God, it's been so long and arduous in a way, trying to establish myself to myself as a musician. Like, I mean, it even took me a long time to just say I'm a musician, but not even that. I mean, time flies these days, like, but it doesn't feel like that long ago when I thought, okay, this is what I'm doing. I mean, it was probably like 5-6 years ago even, I don't know. 2019, 18, 19, it was around, well, I can say that like getting a studio, like actually having a studio that's not my bedroom is one step for me in that direction. And then working with a record label like that, it's different. That game is probably different these days. I don't know what it was like in the past, but that also establishes you, at least to yourself, but it's kind of, you got other people involved and they're investing time and energy into helping you do your thing. So, and that was around 2019 or 20, I think, when I started working with this record label called Colemine. So, man, I would say around there, which feels like yesterday, but it's 5 or 6 years ago now.
And how do you enjoy that, working with a label compared to working on your projects on your own kind of before that? Is it, I'm sure there must be like pros and cons, but like, can you keep full control over your output, or is it also, do you need to compromise a little bit what you're going to do because the label wants to push your music in a certain direction? Or how has that relationship been like for you at Colemine Records since you started working with them?
It's pretty easy. Like, it's mellow. In a way, they basically publish and distribute what I do. I mean, they have input, but not necessarily like really invasive input. They just kind of
they don't really give you notes on.
Yeah, well, they just hear what I'm doing and they just say like, that's cool, and they just have ideas for how to put it out, how to present it in a way. So it's a good experience. There's pros and cons, but only a few. The only con I can think of is like, if I wanted to put something out, if I'm doing it myself, I can go online and upload it that day.
Yeah.
The thing that won't happen is it doesn't get pressed to vinyl. They don't make tapes, or, and it doesn't get to as many people probably because they have distribution and they press things, and they have a whole, as a record label, they have a whole fan base on their own. So, you have to wait. If I want to put something out, I gotta wait for production, and there's a queue. You gotta wait in, but that's the only con, is waiting, and it's worth it to me to get it out there kind of in a more official way.
Yeah.
But just having input and a little bit of help in the presentation is really nice. You kind of want that. It gets a little maddening when you're doing it by yourself, just bouncing things off yourself all the time.
And how did that relationship start with them? Like, did they approach you? Was it the other way around? Like, did a friend of yours kind of recommend you to go work with them? Like, how did that begin?
Yeah, they reached out to me through a friend, and it's all been pretty easy and mellow. Like I said, I think they just were like, do you want to do something, a record or whatever? So the first thing we talked about and did was reissue a record I put out by myself called Overpass Boy. They kind of gave that an official release, which it didn't have before. I just, uploaded it online. And so they took it, that was the experience of them. I got to experience it just working with them. They took it further, more people heard it, and just went way further than it would have.
And what about, like, you mentioned vinyls? Like, is that did you have some of your music put on a record, like a physical vinyl, or is that something that you want to do in the future for upcoming projects, or?
No, I do. The records I make now with Colemine are pressed to vinyl and CD, I guess, CDs, because
also okay.
I think they're back, and cassette. They've done
cassettes as well? Wow.
At least one run of cassettes for something I did, which is really cool. I didn't think about cassettes, and then when I got them, I think they're just like my favorite thing. They're just cool looking.
A lot of nostalgia with it, yeah.
Yeah, I have I do. I wasn't aware of the connection I had to tape. But yeah, they do that now.
Okay, let's do this one.
Danny, what's up? It's Greg. Man, I've been having the hardest time trying to think of what to ask you for this. And I think it's because we've been chatting so much over the last couple of years, which has been awesome. So I've been trying to think of what we never talk about or something that I might want to ask you that I don't know about you. And I was thinking about when we first got to know each other on those workshop Habitat DC trips that were happening in 2002, 2003. I know we went on at least a couple from what I remember, and they were always super fun. And I remember you had this uncanny ability at the time to drop a line from a movie at the perfect time. And even more so, I feel like you made this impression on me because you had so many movie lines, so many lines from movies in your head. It was almost like you had entire movies memorized. At least this is how I thought of you back then. And I think because of that, I guess I always thought of you as someone who watched a ton of movies, watched a lot of movies. And this is something we've never talked about since. So I'm curious, I'm sure you still watch a lot of movies. And if so, now that you're making music and scoring music, if you are paying attention to movie scores or composers of movie scores, maybe if there's any movie scores that you're really stoked on, or composers that you're really stoked on or inspired by, just because it's funny, you've been scoring stuff for projects we've been working on together, but we never really talk about films. So I'm curious if movie scores are something that you're following these days and paying attention to. That's it. Thank you, man. Hope you're good. Bye.
Greg, oh man. Yeah, I'm so grateful to Greg for kind of pulling me into all these projects that he's been working on over the last few years. It's really helped me musically and challenged me in a way, and I've just learned a ton. And we've been able to, like you said, stay in touch, which is cool. And that's funny thinking about me back in the day. I didn't know it back then, but I think I would just watch movies all the time, and I always did. And it's in a way how I just learned how to behave or how to be in the world or something. Mm-hmm. So of course I memorized it, and it was also my way of communicating. It's the way I can express myself, usually through just trying to be funny or something. But and so yeah, I still watch a ton of movies. I don't do it as that often, but one of my favorite things to do, period, is to go to a movie theater and see anything, really, even if it's bad. Mm-hmm. And probably because of I don't have to explain it to anyone who likes going to a movie theater, is the full immersive thing, and sound included. I watch a lot of stuff on my laptop, but I know, and I don't do anything about it, but I know it just sound, I'm getting 40% of the sound or something.
Yeah,
I'm missing so much.
For sure.
And I pay attention to scores, and they very rarely stand out, but sometimes they do, and there's a few in my mind, but I can't remember anyone's name ever. But of course, the Johnny Greenwood stuff.
Oh yeah,
stands out in
the PTA movie,
P.T.
right?
Anderson movies.
Yeah, One Battle After Another.
Yeah, that one for sure, and then There Will Be Blood, right? No,
I think he did the music on that one as well. Yeah,
he did. Yeah, and he's done maybe a handful of other ones, but his stuff stands out. I remember it's whoever did. I don't know names, but I remember noting something that's become a total trend in movie scores. But when I first saw Sicario, this really crazy low end kind of dissonance that started happening, and it was so good in that movie at that time. But that's a long time ago now, and now since then I've just heard it over and over again in everything, even when it's not appropriate.
Interesting. Okay.
And what else? There's Neil Young did a score for a Jim Jarmusch movie called Dead Man. I think those are the details, and I kind of think of that a lot because I'm pretty sure it's been so long since I heard it, or saw that movie. But I'm pretty sure it's just an electric guitar.
Is that the one guitar with what's his name, Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it a long time ago. I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, me too. But that one stuck with me. It's kind of a famous one, but that one has stuck with me just because it's an electric guitar and he's kind of improvising. I think it's a cool idea. I'd have to go back and watch it again. Rycooter's
Oh yeah.
Paris, Texas is kind of a well-known one, but it kind of beautifully sparse. And I think the last thing I'll say about scoring, I want to do more. Greg's like really allowed me to get into this realm too, and I want to do more and do bigger things with it probably. But I don't know where I saw this, but I believe it was Kurosawa, the Japanese director. Is that his name?
I think so. Akira Kurosawa. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could be getting the director wrong, but it was a Japanese director, and I remember him saying something that the scores he thinks a movie score should be, the music should be to feel incomplete, and I don't know how to explain it further than that, but I really related to it because there's this sweet spot where if you just listen to it on its own, it's cool, but there needs to be space and holes in it for putting it under or over or beside visuals.
Yeah.
So there's this trick, and it's like, there's literal frequencies, especially when people are talking, that you want to try and, play with. But that idea stuck with me, and I think about that too. Like I really like kind of almost incomplete pieces for anything that's paired with a visual.
And you were mentioning working with Greg. Were you ever approached by any other skate filmers or filmmakers about scoring another video, or to this point have you only scored skate stuff with Greg?
No, I've done some stuff for other people, just not consistently. But Greg, because of Greg's work, people have hit me up almost, simply because of the stuff that we've done or I've done for him.
Mm-hmm.
People have hit me up. But not a ton, so I'm open. I am still open to it, and I want to do, and we will do. I want to do more, with Greg, obviously, because I'm really enjoying it these days.
Well, I have a similar question from Ray Barbee. We kind of talked about movie scores for a bit now, but he asked, big thanks again, Danny, for working with me on the Vance Leica project. It was super fun. You've been doing so much great work creating the music for a lot of Greg Hunt's edits over the years. Who are the movie composers that you really dig? And is there a director that would be a dream to score for? So I guess maybe the second part, like a director you'd like to score for. Is there someone that comes to mind?
Yeah, I haven't even paid attention to his movies, but I mentioned Jim Jarmusch.
Oh, yeah.
And he just comes to mind because I just brought him up and I mentioned that Dead Man soundtrack. But
Neil Young's soundtrack, yeah.
The Jarmusch stuff in my memory, it's been a while, but I feel like I could do it, basically. Movie scores can be like really intimidating and huge, and like the Randy Newman stuff. I should have mentioned Randy Newman and Van Dyke Parks earlier. Like those guys I love those guys. But those are like big string arrangements, and that stuff feels a little beyond me or something. I really like this kind of minimal, almost quiet approach that doesn't knock you over the head, but it's there.
Yeah.
And so for some reason, the Jarmusch stuff comes to mind. And it's been a while since I watched any of his movies, but I remember really loving what are like Stranger Than Paradise or
yeah.
Stuff like that.
The music in his films is always pretty cool. Yeah, I know he worked a lot with Iggy Pop,
John
right,
Lurie?
and Tom Waits.
Yeah. Maybe John Lurie's done stuff for him.
Oh yeah.
He's at least been in the movies. But,
yeah.
But yeah, it would be a big honor. But any movie, like I would like to, not any movie. I should say any movie, huh? Or any director.
Yeah.
But it'd be really cool to try to take on a full length project like that or feature.
Well, we mentioned Cornelia earlier. She asked, "What is the best impression of a celebrity that you do?"
Oh man, she didn't tell me that you asked her. Well, she knows the answer to it because I think she's probably hinting at my Mike Tyson impression, which I'm not gonna do.
Yeah, okay.
I can't do it.
Yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot like that.
I simply can't do it on a podcast.
Let's see. Oh yeah, this one is from Michael Mealy. He said, "Ask Danny if he still likes to gourmandize every once in a while. I'm sure he will elaborate."
That's great that he used the word gourmandize. because we just got a question from Cornelia, and I think she didn't think that was a word until I Googled it, and not to throw her under the bus, but, you know, I still do, but I think I'm less, I still love to eat, but not as much as I used to. I love to cook more than I used to, though. And I don't even think I'm a great cook, but I've noticed these days I love to cook. And by the time, when the time comes to eat the food, it's whatever. Like, I kind of don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then it's very exciting to find like a nice cutty, not so trendy restaurant or mom and pop place or a truck or something and eat. But yeah, sure. If I hit the road with O'Mealy, I would certainly enjoy gormandizing with him. If I remember correctly, he's a very good cook.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think so. But anyways, I miss that guy.
Well, on the topic of food, I have also a question from Christian Maalouf, who asked, "Why don't you cook enough food for your guests when you have them over?"
Yeah, that's a great question. I still can't do that because I mean, he's a great cook and he knows how to cook for a lot of people. And I was saying I love to cook. I should add I love to cook for myself, or like 2 people tops. Once there's more people, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, then the whole quantity thing gets all messed up, and yeah.
Yeah, so I've just stopped trying, but I've learned my lesson. Lesson learned.
Let's see. This one's from Ry Welch.
Yeah.
He said, being the birdman you are, in the last couple of years, in its natural habitat, what has been your favorite bird that you've observed?
Oh, that's good. I mean, I grew up in Southern California, so spending time on the East Coast and in the Midwest in the last few years, we don't have cardinals in California, at least in Southern California. Mm-hmm. So they're amazing to see. And these last few months was my first winter in New York, in upstate New York. So seeing a cardinal in the snow is a beautiful thing. It's like this bright red bird on the white snow is very exciting. Good question, Ry.
He also asked, what is one ritual or practice you participate in that helps you to stay in a positive mindset?
I mean, it's maybe cliche, but a little bit of meditation. I don't do it daily, even though I have times where I do. But I still maintain a kind of half-assed meditation practice, and it doesn't help me do anything except for not totally, latch on to negative thoughts, which will drag you down if you latch on to those ones. So so probably a bit of meditation.
All right, I have 2 last ones.
Danny, what's up, dude? Miss you, pal. It's Ryan. I hope the road has been kind to you this last year. A lot of people don't know this, but Danny is actually an amazing photographer. Every time he pulls out his phone and shows me pictures of his travels or pictures from Mexico or from LA, the composition, the light, the candidness of it, he's just got an eye for it. So Danny, I'm curious, what does photography mean to you, and does it provide like a fulfillment like other art forms I know do for you? And how'd you get into photography, and just talk a little bit about taking photos and how you approach it. All right, man, I miss you, love you, can't wait to see you again.
Oh man, that's interesting because I've almost never noticed that about myself, but hearing him say it, I think I have this very secret desire to be a cool and interesting photographer, but I've never done anything about it. So really, the cell phone photos are like probably little mini attempts at trying to create some artistic photos. But so that's really it. Like, I think I admire good photographers, and I know a handful of them. And I think I admire composition in photos and in any like visual art form. But I've never really pursued it and never done it consistently, except for just take photos on my phone here and there. And even then, I'm not good at that. So I'm not good at doing it consistently. So
yeah, you haven't pursued it super seriously and like bought a high-end camera of some sort, or
yeah, and like taken it as serious as I've done other things. But that's a great question, Ryan, because somehow you kind of reflected something that I don't think of very much to myself, but miss you too.
Is that something you'd like to do in the future though? Like eventually, maybe someday try to focus a bit more on photography and like buy a legit kind of camera and explore that a little bit, or?
I guess so. I have thought of that. So it'll probably happen when it happens. If it's the desire's there, I'll let it happen.
Yeah. So you have a lot of talented photographer friends, so I'm sure you'll have some good advice to get from people around you.
I do have kind of the resources.
Okay, well, we can wrap it up with this one from Matthew Aveiro, who I believe you played together, and the project was Damaso, right?
Yeah, that's my good bud, Matt.
So I'll read you the two questions. He said, do you agree with Bukowski that style is the answer to everything? And can a person do one thing with style and another thing without it?
Very good. I knew who'd come with something. No, I don't think it's the answer to everything, but it is a fascinating thing, style, like the concept, because it's like a bit like trying to find a shadow with a flashlight. If you're trying to make it happen, you just kind of can't grab it.
Mm-hmm.
But it does happen, and it's somehow like beauty or aesthetic beauty. It kind of really only exists when it's being observed or appreciated by somebody else. I think. I mean, I would have to think about that a lot, and it's probably could go real deep if I wanted to, or if it took time. But it's a fascinating idea or phenomenon or concept or whatever you want to call it. Style in anything. But he's referencing that Bukowski poem that most of us kind of know, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether I agree with him or not, but it's still kind of cool it's a cool thing to think about.
I was just wondering about style in music. Like, I assume like with skating, you just develop and refine your style with practice and aging and stuff. And with music, do you feel like it's the same thing? Like, do you feel like your style has improved, so to speak, or like got a bit more precise with time, with practice?
Yeah, it's very much both of the same. They just develop, like you just develop something, and it's very much a extension of your personality, whatever your personality is. It almost always is just exactly kind of how somebody feels similar.
And is it something you think about a lot when you're like either writing a song or working on a piece of music or even performing? Are you paying attention to that, or do you try to not focus on that at all and just be in the moment and do whatever you're doing without consideration of whether the people are how they're gonna perceive it, sort of?
Yeah, I don't think so much about how. I mean, I think a lot about how you do things, like how you move or how you strike things, like if it's an instrument. Singing wise, I can't really. Sometimes I feel like I only have like one or two modes of singing, so I'm not as like. But I think about how you do things, so it's kind of done a certain way, and that's close to style. But I don't think of it as like a style. Is this going to be kind of perceived, how it's perceived? Because that's kind of an impossible task. I've learned that. Like, you just don't know.
Better to let go of it and try to just not worry about that, basically?
Yeah, I think I spend most of my time concentrating on what I'm doing and kind of that relationship. I don't go any bigger than that. But Matt's got style. Matt's a steezy dude. He's probably got a good answer to that question.
Okay, yeah, well, we could wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate you taking the time to do this.
We made it. It's a pleasure, man. Thank you. That's like really sweet and a pleasure to hear like all my friends speak and ask questions.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy. It's like a trip down memory lane, and then also seeing myself in a different way. It's interesting, but cool experience.
That's it for my conversation with Danny. Follow him on Instagram at Reverend Baron. Make sure to go listen to his amazing music either on your favorite streaming platform or better yet on a CD, vinyl, or cassette you can purchase at ColeMineRecords.com. And obviously treat yourself to all of Danny's iconic video parts as well as Greg Hunt's Vans and Adidas edits that he scored. Thank you for tuning in. See you soon for a new episode of Beyond Boards.